Welcome to Truth and Transcendence. You can find all our other episodes on truthandtranscendence.com. So this one is about reaching out to old contacts. There was a movie years ago, I think it was John Cusack, where he decided, I think he had a breakup with a girlfriend, and he decided to call all his old girlfriends and ask them why they broke up with him. And he contacted them all. And if I remember correctly, they all informed him that as far as they were concerned, he had broken up with them. So he had a significant coming up to date with himself, or at the very least, realizing that there was another point of view on his memory of the past situation. And perhaps they liked him more than he thought, because his reality was they didn't like him, they wanted to get rid of him. But their reality was that he didn't like them, and he wanted to get rid of them. So this thing of coming up to date with ourselves is one of the reasons why I've been reaching out to old contacts lately. So if you're one of my old contacts and you've suddenly got a message from me completely out of the blue, and as far as you were concerned, I may actually have been dead. Oh, actually, I wouldn't have been because you're watching the show. But, you'd sort of almost forgotten all about me. Why on earth am I reaching out to old contacts? And why do we do that? And why don't we do it? And why does it matter? So for me, one of the reasons it matters is because it helps me to realize who I am now. And actually, that I'm not the same as I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I've actually moved on significantly. Because when I talk to somebody, I had a chat with somebody today who I last saw, it must be 23 years ago. We did some work together 23 years ago. And I wrote to him and said, would he like to catch up? And he said, well, why? Open to it, but why? And I thought, how can I explain to him why? Because I didn't have a specific agenda like, I want you to buy my services from me, or I want you to introduce me to somebody who will introduce me to somebody who will buy my services, or I want you to write a chapter in my book, or I want you to contribute to my charitable foundation, or I want you to come on the show as a guest. I didn't have a specific agenda. I just knew reaching out to people is a good idea. And this guy just popped into my mind. I thought I'll just reach out. And we were having a chat, and he was completely different from last time I saw him. He looked much healthier, happier, more relaxed, more in himself, more evolved. And that was a delightful thing to see, really lovely thing to see, because even if I'm only dealing with someone for a short period of time, I care about people, and I like to see that in people. But it also really brought home to me, and in the nature of the conversation, the level of the conversation we were able to have today was so much more advanced than the nature of the conversation we were able to have 23 years ago. He's evolved, I've evolved. And the quality of connection we made then meant that we could have a really, really lovely quality of connection today. And so all of this actually relates to the first pillar of the 3 pillars of helping people step deeper into their calling, which is, what I'm doing in my other job, my non-podcast job, helping people step deeper into their calling. And the first pillar is called integration. And it's about getting up to date with ourselves, realizing who we are now, how we've evolved, how we've changed, and perhaps what difference did we make back then, really? How did we leave it with somebody? What difference did we make to their life? What value did we add? What gift did we share with people? And actually looking back like that and catching up with people is a beautiful, wonderful way to do it. And it also reminds us that people don't stay stuck in the box that we thought they were in when we last saw them, because they were never in a box. None of us were ever in a box. And being reminded of that constant evolving that happens for all of us is so helpful and brings us back in touch with the ever-changing nature of reality and of life. So why don't we reach out to past connections? Well, I think perhaps it's for all the same reasons, which is sometimes we want to keep people in that box. We want them to keep us in the box that they had us in. We think, well, I want them to remember me as, in my 30s or 40s and looking great and all that sort of thing. Or I want them to remember me for that great project that we did. Or, I don't want them to see who I am now. I don't want them to be up to date with me, or I don't want to know what they're doing now. Or sometimes we think, what are we going to get out of it? I'm only going to connect with someone if I'm going to get something out of it. And that's very, very sad a place to be, I think. Or we think, what are they going to get out of it? And we think, I've got nothing to give. There's no value for them in talking to me. Again, that's a very sad place to be. But the place of openness and extending outwards is much more creative and much more expansive. And it can be a bit scary. We can think, supposing they don't remember who I am, supposing they didn't like me, supposing they thought this, and this. I had another catch-up conversation with someone a couple of weeks ago who I'd done a little bit of work with, just a few one-to-one sessions. And he had no idea who I was. He'd completely forgotten me. I mean, to be fair, this person was 1996, so that's 30 years ago that I last saw him for a few one-to-one sessions over the space of a month. So he could be forgiven for forgetting who I was completely and forgetting what we did. But, when I did work with this person, I was much earlier on in my particular path, less confident, less skilled. And I felt a bit awkward in that working relationship. I wasn't quite sure how to help him. In fact, I called a halt to the work because I didn't think he was getting enough value. He actually agreed with me, but he was being polite. And I said, no, I don't think this is a worthy use of both of our time. And I stopped the work. But interestingly, he had no memory of that. And I'd carried that memory. And I thought, isn't that interesting? It wasn't that much of a big deal for him. For me, it was a real learning point. And again, we were meeting fresh. So yes, sometimes we're a bit nervous of reaching out. Sometimes we're just exhausted. We think we don't have time. Sometimes we're worried it's going to turn into having to visit each other and drive hundreds of miles across countryside to meet each other and meet their partner and their children and their grandchildren and their nephews and their this, that, and the other. But, it's just a conversation. So I would like to really encourage you and everybody else to reach out to old contacts. I think that it helps balance something for us. It helps bring us up to date. It helps complete and tie up loose ends from the past. It may resolve old issues. It may bring to mind wonderful things from the past that we've forgotten all about, that we could really do with remembering. So I heartily recommend reaching out to old contacts, and I'm going to carry on doing it. So if you are one of those people and you receive a random message from me out of the blue, now you know why. And maybe you'll do the same thing as well. So have a wonderful week, and maybe some of your old contacts will reach out to you. And if they do, receive them kindly. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Do please tell your friends. And if you haven't already written a review for the show, I really, really appreciate it, because it actually does something good for the algorithm on Apple Podcasts. And also on Spotify, you can put a 5-star rating, and you can put comments for the show or for specific episodes. So, and also on YouTube and everywhere, actually. Everywhere you watch or listen to this, you can actually make some sort of contribution to the algorithm, which helps the show to get presented to more people, so more people can benefit from it. Have a fantastic week. May you have some beautiful connections with people in your life now and also old contacts. Bye for now. Take care.